All right, welcome back, everyone, to episode 5 of the Long Shots podcast. It's been a little bit since we posted up an episode, but today I have my friend Rusty here. Very happy to have you here, Rusty. Thank you so much for coming out.
Appreciate it, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so the premise for the Long Shots podcast is creatives out here trying to make their way, find their foothold in the industry, and share their experiences and their, maybe pitfalls or hardships or, all that along the way. And I myself, the reason why I came up with the long shot term was because I myself was a long shot. I didn't think I was going to make it, one, as an entrepreneur, two, in life in general, just because of my past and where I came from, upbringing, struggles with personal things that always held me back from achieving what I wanted to achieve. So
I love it, man.
I just always love to put that out there, and because everybody's going through something.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, let's start there. I just want to go back. There's so much that I want to ask you, but I like to know about like how people grew up and like where they come from to get a little bit of understanding about where they are now and how they got there. So, how did you grow up? Like, were you born and raised in Florida? Like, tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah. So no, I've been in Florida for 7 years. Grew up in San Diego, California. And most of my childhood was playing sports up until like 10. And then like you, got
What
on
sports?
Baseball.
Okay.
Just like the typical baseball.
I was a soccer kid.
Yeah, I tried the football, the baseball, and then I got on a bike.
Yeah.
And it was the next 12 years of my life.
Hell yeah.
Was BMX racing, 20-inch. My baseball field was like right across the street from the BMX track, and you can hear the announcers and stuff. And my buddy invited me, so I used to wear my BMX outfit under my baseball outfit, so I would just go straight from one to the other. But yeah, man, as an amateur, I raced for 10 years, and then professionally 2 years. Entrepreneurship didn't come in till 24, 25.
Yeah.
It was sports, go downhill, hit rock bottom, and then kind of get it together at 25.
Tell me about like the process of like BMX and how you got involved with it, and like you said professionally for 2 years.
Yeah.
So what was the journey of like from start and like getting your first bike to like going pro?
Okay.
I feel like not a lot of people can say that they were a pro athlete. You know.
Yeah. So from the beginning, I started out with like a Walmart bike, like light bicycles, and carbon fiber is the way to go in this sport. I had like a 30-pound bike with pegs on it still at the BMX track, which is like not efficient, but that's how I started.
Right.
Just kept going consistently. And where I'm from, Kearney Mesa BMX, like some of the greatest legends come from that area. It's riding all year round at that track and similar tracks, or I mean closer tracks, but it was like a breeding ground for legends.
California's just the bike BMX epicenter. You know?
Like I'm sure you know Chad Curley.
Yep.
I grew up racing him. Wow. He did BMX racing before he did freestyle. He's my age, so we raced up until...
I love his YouTube channel.
Yeah, we raced up until he just went full-time freestyle. But for me, just kept with it. Eventually got picked up by like a smaller team, started going to nationals, did well at the nationals, and then got picked up by a factory team, which is now, I want to say Haro. Before the team was called Phantom On Track. Their main sponsor was like a garage door company, but they were based out of my home track, and they were the biggest team in the whole USA circuit.
Yeah.
So as far as achievements for amateurs, I got 2 world titles as an amateur at 13 and 15. I got the national number 1 title as an amateur for the USA circuit. So the biggest achievements you can do as an amateur, I knocked off the list. And then when I went pro, it just went downhill. One of my last races as an amateur that was funded by USA, I broke my leg. Couldn't afford to travel with like our own funding internationally. So I just fell out of love with it when it got to like a business standpoint.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really for fun anymore.
Right. Were you like going through like the coming up in the amateur phase when everything was like on fire? Like, were you obsessed with it? Like, was it like eat, sleep, breathe, train BMX racing?
Oh yeah. I spent 10 years. Like Thanksgiving is called the Grands. It's the finale race for all the points in the USA circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Spent 10 years on the road in Tulsa, Oklahoma, eating like Bob Evans and stuff for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Sometimes my family was there. Most of the time they weren't. Mm. So yeah, school dances, proms, everything out the window.
Damn.
But I don't regret it at all. Like what I was doing instead of school dances and all that stuff was way more fun, in my opinion.
That's just lame anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, school in general. You
know? Yeah, of course.
Okay, so once it became more business-oriented, you got injured, you shifted, and where did you take your life from that point?
Yeah,
did you have a jobby job? Or?
Yeah, I did. I had a job as an amateur as well. I started moving furniture at like, I want to say 17 or 18. Mm-hmm. And it's just from growing up and seeing my parents struggle, like especially in San Diego, the rent and stuff or their mortgage is not cheap. And then they're doing everything they can to fund me and keep my dream alive. I was like, I couldn't help it. Like with the man in me seeing my dad, I'm like, I got to make some money.
Right,
know?
Of course.
And then BMX is just not the sport unless you're in the top 1% of the world. Like, you're not making a living off of it. Mm-hmm. Dudes chase the dream until they're 35, 40 and hope it becomes a career, like not in the racing scene, but in the teams or in the...
Do you think it's different now with like YouTube and social media and sponsorships and affiliates and brand deals and all that stuff?
I think there's more opportunity there.
Yeah. I mean, there's pro action sports athletes now that thrive.
Yeah.
And make bread, you know?
Yeah. Some of them...
I think the internet has changed a lot of that.
Oh, yeah. You know? In a lot of realms. But in sports like this, I've seen guys from BMX, like Barry Nobles is a retired pro, but he's BMX and bikes and two wheels is his life. And he was the first one in that BMX industry to get 100K on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So he kind of saw that way before a lot of people and was like, I'm going to start uploading because it's cool stuff. Yeah. But if you're not relying on other avenues of monetization, don't expect to make a killing from like sponsors and, you know, winning races. Yeah. If you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I would probably never tell anyone to not chase whatever it is they want to do.
Of course.
You know? Yeah, I say it all the time that the reason why I didn't pursue video or photography as a living was because other people told me that I would never make money doing it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I feel like that's applicable to anything that you love and you're passionate about. But yeah, I also feel like sports is a little different.
Yeah,
you know? It's like saying you're going to go to the league, you know, or be like it's just. If someone was like, I'm thinking about pursuing like this or like be a professional athlete, I'm like, your odds of this are probably a little bit higher. Yeah. If you work hard and pursue this than it would like this. I mean, just like statistically, I would assume, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Or maybe I'm wrong. Fuck, I don't know.
No, I think generally speaking, I think what you said is pretty true. Like odds wise, especially if someone has dreams of going to the leagues, becoming an Olympian, like it's very slim. Right. And you have a lot of competition. As to something like this and a business, you do have a lot of competition, but that doesn't mean you can't succeed still. Right. On the other hand, in the sports realm, like if you don't make it, you can't succeed. Yeah. You're not going to the games or you're not, one of the top %. But I still have friends chasing this dream. And it's like, I'm the BMX dream, the Olympics, and I'm all for it. But for me, like you said, I will never turn them down. Like, yo, what are you doing? Like, go get a career or something. I wouldn't do that because they love it. Right. And as long as they're doing their thing, then good for them. But for me, just at a young age, it was a turning point.
Yeah.
I'm like, realistically, this.
And we also have families now too, so you think a little differently when that happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Most people, I mean, maybe those friends they don't have families, so they're on their own and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
When did you? So there has to be a large gap, right, between just like thinking of the timeline of your life, a large gap between when you stopped racing and you moved to Florida, right?
Yes.
So what happened in that window?
Yeah. Okay. So
that's like a 10-year window, probably, right?
No, it's like 5.
Okay.
Yeah. 20 to 25.
Okay.
I would say.
In California, still San Diego.
Hawaii, but we'll get to there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I want to say around 2021, around there is when I quit BMX, and even when I was still racing, I was just in the party scene a lot, going out, hiding stuff behind my parents' back.
Yeah.
Not hiding it. I thought I was hiding it, but I was just not disciplined.
Think you're Mr. Slick.
Yeah, not disciplined at all.
Yeah.
In my sport. That and falling out of love with it was just like the recipe for me to go do something else.
Yeah.
Be a young kid and drink and party. Moved to Hawaii. My parents moved to Florida. My dad got transferred for work. I didn't want to come here. I had a buddy, Chris. His girlfriend at the time moved to Hawaii for university.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yo, you want to move? Because I was living with him at his grandma's house. He's like, yo, you want to move to Hawaii? Like, we can just go out there and get a job, do the same thing we're doing here, but live in Hawaii. So I'm like, yeah, sure, man.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so we went. It was always meant to be a short-term thing.
Yeah.
We went for a year, hit super rock bottom out there, just like super lost in life.
The most beautiful place in the United States, and you're lost.
I hate it. Yeah. Everyone asked me like, oh, you must have loved it. I'm like, for the reasons you think I loved it,
it was
yes,
nice.
I did love it,
Yeah.
but it was the worst time of my life. I'll just skip. I'll make it short, but in Hawaii.
I never started the timer anyway, so we'll start it now.
We're officially on. In Hawaii, I hit rock bottom, but I just lost all my friends, lost my family, turned to partying and stuff. I was like legal now to drink, so I didn't have to like sneak it in my parents' garage. So going out all the time. 2 weeks before I was supposed to not move back. I ended up moving back, but 2 weeks before I was supposed to visit my family, I was out drinking with like a group of like 15 people, and too much drinks, got in a fight. Well, I got jumped, jumped, and I broke my nose, fractured my jaw, 9 stitches in here, just a mess. And I was unconscious. I wake up, and my buddy Chris is like over my shoulder crying. He's like, this is what I remember.
Yeah.
He's like, you're going to be okay, man. He's like tearing up, like not like him at all. And I'm like, what's going on, man? And I look down, and there's just a stream of blood running to the street. I'm in front of like a Louis Vuitton store in Waikiki. And I just look up, and it was like, what am I doing, man? Like, what am I doing with my life? And that's when I had spent 2 weeks alone in our apartment because everyone moved, and I was still kind of like undecided of what I was doing and if I was going to press charges. The dude was in the military, so I was like, I couldn't leave. I had my car broken into in this 2 week period, my passport stolen, like just a mess. So I stayed there for 2 weeks alone, and it was like a huge time for me to like, it was when I connected with God, was on the flight home. And it was just like, huge realization, like, hey, I'm still here, Rusty, like, it's never too late. So that was kind of like, okay, well, this phase is over, moving on. And everything I prayed for on the way here was answered. So it's like, that was the turning point.
Are you religious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a relationship with God. I'm Christian.
Do you go to church?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was raised like every Sunday church, like from when I was born. Like we were always in church. We were always in youth group.
Yeah.
Once I got old enough to be like, nah, I'm not going. I was like, that was it for me, you know?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, I hit my bottom too. And I still don't go to church. I probably should, but I definitely have a relationship with God, and am like excited to be on a spiritual journey, you know?
Yeah.
And just learning and growing that relationship every day, you know? So on the plane, you had the awakening, maybe whatever you want to call it. This plane ride was back to California or to Florida? How did you end up in Florida? I know your parents moved, right? So you were like, at that point in time, you were like, oh, I don't know really which direction I'm going to go. So did you go like just back to living with them?
Yeah. So the original plan was to go visit them and then fly back to California.
Okay.
And continue living down there with friends. But I got there and I kind of knew, like, leaving Hawaii, I'm like, I should probably stay there and like be with my parents, get out of this slump. And I have super loving parents. They wanted me to be there the whole time.
Right.
But they're like, yeah, of course you can stay. So I just stayed there. And till this day, I never, ever wanted to go back.
Yeah. I lived in my parents' basement until I was like 25.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I hope, you know, you're a father, I'm a father, and I hope that when my children get older, they'll have that same type of mentality that, like, if they ever need to come home or need anything, like, we'll always be there for them, you know?
Absolutely.
So, so you stayed in Florida. I know, where'd you go from there, right? Like, job, school, like, you started to figure things out?
Yeah, no, not school.
Because I know where you are now, and that's a big jump, from, you know?
Yeah, not school, man. I glided by with C's and D's and barely made it out of high school. Tried community college and went for like 2 weeks, and told my dad, like, I'm trying, but I can't do it. Like, this is not for me. And he finally realized, like, okay, he's trying, but it's not working. I'm like, I'll do something else, you know?
Yeah.
So no school. Came here, got a job for moving furniture for 2 Men in a Truck.
Yep.
Super popular company down here.
Yep.
Worked for them. Worked for a different company out in Vero, a little smaller business. And my step into entrepreneurship was, we were at the moving company and it was slow. And he's like, hey, we have a pressure washer. If you want some hours, then just clean up the parking lot and clean up the building. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So for like 2 days with super small equipment, like not efficient at all.
Yeah.
8 hours a day just going to town on this parking lot with a wand and like hitting the building. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to make this a business, like pressure washing. And I'm like, I'm just gonna try it on the side. I've always told myself, like, I want to do something of my own. So whether it fails or does good, I just need to try something and stick with it and not give up. And then that's what pressure washing was.
Okay.
And luckily, I didn't know, like, the market. And
it's crazy here. Dude, every day I see a different company in this development.
Yeah, so saturated. But luckily, I didn't do that research. It probably would have restricted me.
No, it's never saturated because nobody can do it like you can do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but it's... I think if I put more thought into it, if I did do the market research, I probably would have tried something else.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it all worked out the way it did for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my step into entrepreneurship. 7 years later.
That's wild. They were slow and they were like, hey, you want to do this? And now you built a business that supports your family and all that. It's so sick.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. It's good, man. I think, not to come off any certain type of way, but I think whatever it was, for the most part, would have done well. And just because of that turning point in my life where I said, whatever I do try, you can't quit. You can't get knocked down.
Yeah.
And you have to keep taking a step forward.
So how did you learn, like, the business fundamentals, like, you know, starting your LLC, getting insurance, marketing, website, all that stuff. How did that all play into that? Because that's like super important.
Yeah, I learned the slowest way possible. Like with what I know now can be compacted into a year, like what took 4, but it was just all trial and error.
Yeah.
Just
Self-taught.
Yeah, reaching out to
bootstrapping.
people. Yep. Every aspect of that business, which I'm thankful for because now I know a whole lot about business, which I didn't before.
Right.
But I didn't pay for services to like take care of certain departments. I was like, okay, this has got to get done. Write down what you got to do. Check it off. Check it off. Check it off. Okay, that's done. Moving on. What has to get done next? And this has nothing to do with the physical work. That's the easy part.
You're talking about administrative stuff.
Everything, yeah. Behind the scenes, taxes, everything. Like
You just did everything yourself to start.
Yeah.
Which is what most people do, I feel.
Yeah.
Like. Unless it's like your second or third business, then you
Exactly.
already know.
You
like,
know how to know how to get there.
Like I'm
quicker.
not doing bookkeeping.
Yeah.
You know, I'll pay someone $200 a month. That's so worth it to me.
Yeah.
To do that, you know. And then they just file everything at the end of the year for you whenever they charge, you know.
Yep.
It's like you're silly to not, you
Yeah.
know, dependent upon what you're making, I guess. But yeah, you learn after years of experience that there are certain things, even now to me, like cleaning my house and cleaning my car, I pay someone to do that. This might sound a little superficial, right? I pay someone to do that because I know that within that 2 hours that it would take me to do that I can make more than right. Like, so 2 hours and X amount of dollars to charge or to clean the car. Like it costs this amount, but I know within that 2 hours I made more than what I would have made if I just did it myself.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I think that you have to have that shift eventually, but if you want to grow, and also to not get so tied on like the money thing, because it's like just numbers on a screen, and at the end of the day, and it's just like an exchange of energy.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like glad that I've been able to like shift that, you know, recently, just in the past couple months, and not get so tied to like how much is in there, or like what's coming in or whatever. Just like moving and shaking and not being so obsessed with like what the amount is.
Trying to get every little dollar and then hold on to it while you got it. Yeah.
For what?
Yeah. Like you said, you know that as you grow in business, out like even your car washes and house wash, outsourcing is everything.
Yep.
You're freeing up your time for what you're doing. Is most valuable.
Right. It's about figuring out. Yeah. But I only got there from like really figuring out what I'm good at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is, that's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what life's about, I guess.
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, so I want to ask you about YouTube, because as you built your pressure washing company, you built a pretty good sized YouTube channel, right? So tell me about why you did that, what the process was like. If you want to share I mean, you've shared numbers about what you made from it. Maybe if you were doing it again, what you would change. Just dive into that a little bit, because I feel like every business needs one.
Yeah.
And if you don't have one, you're doing yourself a disservice. And YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google, which is owned by Google.
Yep.
So you're kind of foolish if you don't at least have 1 or 2 videos on there.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to touch up on that really quick, I've got leads from my YouTube, really big paying high ticket jobs. And that's not why I created the YouTube channel.
I love that.
But like you said, the importance of it, like there's no cons to, other than it being time consuming. There's no cons to putting energy and time into a channel like that for your business and for personal. But it started with me always wanting to do YouTube for something, but just never, I always wanted to be a creator, and I never got around to it. I could have done it on BMX, but just didn't. And then when
you kind of just saw other people doing it, and you were like, that kind of looks interesting.
Yeah, I've been consuming YouTube since it's been out, since it's opened. And from the beginning, I'm like, I want to be a creator. I want to do something. But I just never had the courage to do it. Yeah. And then when I started the business and I got the wheels rolling for that, it was just another one of those things like, what do you say you want to do and you don't do? YouTube. Okay. Get a camera, film your day. and that's what it was. So I bought a ZV-1. It's like a point and shoot camera from Sony, and bought a little shotgun mic. I'm like, I'm gonna make videos. So I started the channel with like vlogs of a pressure washer, because there's so many people looking to get into the business, and it was just giving them a sense of what it will look like.
So your audience was people who want to start their own business, a pressure washing business,
either in it or want to start, or like I have a lot of people from that channel that are just in the service business, and they like service business content.
Like roofing, contractors,
AC
washing,
people, HVAC. They're like, oh, I do no pressure washing, but I love your channel. And I think it's because we're kind of like similar lifestyle people.
Right.
So it's just pulled in a really awesome audience. But yeah, the growth of it, like any channel, unless you're one of the lucky ones where it like takes off and you kind of have a game plan going into it, 99% of the time your channel is never going to blow up. There's those rare cases, but I put in the sweat equity. I did editing, filming, and I'm on the job. Like jobs that take me 3 to 4 hours is now like 5, because I'm like,
you're out there with your stick, like, hey guys, what's up, everybody?
Exactly. Strapping on a GoPro,
turning
it on, trying to take care of my equipment. But that was my intro to YouTube, was that channel, and I'm actually thinking of getting back on it with the free time that I have now.
Yeah,
I can focus more on the creative side of things rather than my service business. Like that was just taking up all my time pretty much.
Right.
But yeah, sorry. What was the second part to your YouTube question?
No, that pretty much answered it.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about how many subscribers you have and like what the ad revenue is like and all that.
Yeah. So we just hit 6,000 like a couple
When did you start the channel?
Without looking, I want to say like 2.5 years ago.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah. And it was like, with what I know now, like techniques to implement to storytelling and YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I didn't do any of that.
Yeah, your first videos are always going to be garbage.
Oh yeah. Even up to the last upload on that channel, like it's not garbage per se, but just like to a large number of people, it can be very boring.
Right. Okay.
I'm not straight to the point, straight to the value of this.
Too much fluff.
Yeah, a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
But you learn as you go. But
yeah.
6K subscribers. When I was constantly uploading, like once, twice a month, it was. I want to say it was in the range of 150 to 200 per month.
Yeah.
And now the channel, haven't uploaded for 8 months. It's like 170 every 2 months. That's without touching it.
Yeah.
And it's not like.
Yeah, that's what that's what I always like read. And it's a fact that, those videos are there forever. So they'll keep, if you stop uploading it, they're going to, fizzle out, but they're still always going to get watched.
Of course.
Yeah. Building out the YouTube channel, becoming, that creator that you have always wanted to become. Is that what sparked the interest in you in filmmaking?
Yeah, 100%. I started the YouTube for the pressure washing channel and then never stopped liking it. It was just like a hobby that kept growing and growing, and I loved it more and more. And that's ultimately, what got me into filmmaking, videography, a little bigger equipment. That was the spark.
Yeah. And now you're hoping to kind of make the transition from one business to the other, right?
Yeah, I'm going to...
Is that your ultimate goal?
Yeah, that's for now. Things change.
Of course.
Daily for me in my head, but just got to keep pushing. For now, I'm just doing the service business, have my brother running the service side of things, taking care of the jobs. So with the free time, slowly but surely, I want to start a business for filmmaking.
Yeah.
Probably into short form content for businesses, just because it's so powerful. But we'll see. I'm still learning my craft in this filmmaking realm.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Like, you either got the eye for it and you don't. And you definitely 1,000% do. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, like with a service business, it was a money mindset. And it was like, okay, you're going to do something to make money, to get a career, but no one wakes up and wants to go pressure wash. Like, I'm not going to do this for free. You know, there has to be an exchange of money to value. But I want to do something now that will fund me, but I don't want it to be something I don't like. Like service business I'm super grateful, super blessed for it, but there was nothing in my mind that was like, do something you want to do because you
like
love
your soul wasn't connected to it.
Yeah. It's just it was just a
Do you
business.
feel that connection with filmmaking?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Where in filmmaking, I don't know yet.
That's okay.
Yeah, but that's why right now I'm just
How do you think you recognize that connection? Or like when would you even could you remember a time in your life that you were like, damn, like this is what I want to do?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because maybe, you know, I don't know. I feel like people are always like, oh, when you say, you know, like when all those like social media, like, oh, do what you're passionate about.
Yeah,
but it's like, how do you find it?
Yeah.
And like, when do you know that you found it?
Yeah.
You know?
I've heard some great advice on that because I was in the same boat. Like, all these people with lots of money and have found their
easy for
calling.
them.
Yeah, it's like, cool, you can say that. Mm-hmm. But I think on like where I'm at now, especially for the filmmaking business, it was just trying things. Like, people are like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. But did you try 10 things? Did you fall in love with one of them? Mm-hmm. Would you continue? Like, if no one's watching you or paying you, would you go do it for fun? Like, try 10 things and then answer that question. If you tried one thing or you didn't try anything, you're not going to know. You can't just think of something like, oh, I love that, and not do it. You got to try it. Right. So that was the best advice I heard, was just like, get your feet wet with a few different things. If it feels like it could be something, if you're feeling a spark, then kind of chase it. And that's what filmmaking was for me. Like, it started with YouTube, but it was like editing, video, photography, everything just kept me so intrigued.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to do this for a living. Like, aside from the money, I could see myself doing stuff like this all the time. And it's, you know, you're going to do stuff like, I'm not even doing it full time, and I'm doing stuff where I'm like, this is not fun. But you're never going to, for the most part, you're never going to find something that is just pure enjoyment 100% of the time. Yeah. And I'm sure you can relate.
For sure. I think a lot of it comes down to self-awareness too. Like, I can look at times in my life. I posted a little reel like back last week that was about when I got my first camera. And that was kind of just a time in my life that, like, if I look back at it, I'm like, oh yeah, like I was obsessed with this back then. But then like my life took a like it always does, and like that went to the side. But now, like, I'm like, if I look back at that, I'm like, wow, like I was super into that, you know. So, but yeah, it is, dude. It's about trying everything, you know, but also just like analyzing little pockets of your life that you're doing things that you may not think are like passions or like interests of yours, you know, that are like, dude, like your buddy Chandler, for example, like such an inspiration, you know, like we did that video with him, and I was talking about him the other day because somebody was showing me wildlife photos, and I'm like, dude, you got to check this guy out. Like his life is wildlife and wild animals. And she was like, oh, like his page is insane. I'm like, yeah, like he's got owls, fucking camels, alligators, shit. Like, it's fucking crazy.
He's got everything, man.
You know? Where do you, so you made the shift. Now you have like, and it's hard to see the forest from the trees, you know? I think you are at a point in your journey where like you're making this transition, and like here we are, like you would probably be power washing a house or a driveway or car, right? Here we are, we're creating, we're making a podcast because you got your brother, you're delegating tasks and all that stuff, and now you're trying to, you know, pursue your filmmaking career, which is incredible. And like, you know, I love it, and I want to help you in any way that I can and be a part of the journey. But like, where do you see? You said you may not know like exactly what areas you want to go into, but like, you have to have some inkling on like what you want to create. And I seen something on your timeline about a documentary, or on your story.
Yeah.
So like, where do you want your filmmaking career to go? Like, put it into the atmosphere. Like, set some marker today that we'll look back on in a year, and you're gonna crush it. Like, what do you want to be doing?
Yeah, that's a great question, man.
So businesses and social media, I think I 100% agree with you. That is exciting and will also pay the bills.
Yes.
What else do you want to do?
Well, really quick, this guy has been a huge help. You answered all my rookie questions. Like, I know what it's like for someone new to ask me questions in my service business.
Yeah.
And it's like but you've been a huge help. And I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
you already have been.
Collaboration happens at the top.
Yeah. Yep. I like that. To answer your question, though, I see myself. It's so tough to say, man. Because
sometimes people ask me, and I don't know.
Yeah, I can't say. I'm still in that point of this journey of like, I have an opportunity here. I'm gonna go try it out, see if I like it. I have an opportunity here, have an opportunity there. I'm gonna go test them out and kind of see what's pulling me.
Yeah.
But so far, what's pulling me is, even though the content isn't the most fun to shoot, is, like you said, helping small businesses through video and storytelling and captivating moments visually, because the YouTube for pressure washing was for me to help people. That's what the channel is all about.
Right.
I'm just helping new people. You don't even have to be new. You probably learn stuff if you're a seasoned veteran, but I just like helping people, and I want to help people in their small business captivate an audience with video, because it's so powerful nowadays. Like, Google ads and everything is dying compared to a lot of stuff, like how Google ads used to perform against Facebook video ads and anything video ad. Google was the king, but now it's getting taken over by video advertisement, because seeing it, like you said about the reviews and testimonials, when you see something, it's like credibility checked off. You're not just reading a review that, like you said, your website editor could have just slapped together.
Yeah.
But I just want to help people grow their business.
Okay. I love that. Don't pigeonhole yourself into small businesses, though. You want to help businesses grow.
Yes.
Okay. Because when that big, Fortune 500 company calls you out for corporate work or interview work or, doc style work or whatever, you're prepared to do that. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you want to add something?
Oh, no. Yeah. I want to start with small businesses.
I used to do the same thing. And I don't know why at one point I'm like, because people would ask me like, what kind of videos do you make? Oh, I help small business, blah, blah, blah. And at one point I was like, but what if this guy I'm talking to has a large business?
Like you're doing now with like a huge influencer, huge companies.
Right. Yeah. So I think this is like work that I've done on myself, like over the past couple of years, just like, mindset stuff. Like your thoughts become your actions, become your life. It's just reality, you know? So I think that's why it's important for us to put the stuff out there that we want to get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I love about you, man. You speak life over people.
Yeah.
Rather than gossip, and like, it's so easy to talk crap about people.
Yeah.
But you're like encouraging your friends, which is rare these days.
Right.
But I appreciate it.
Yeah. There's just, because there were so many people in my life, not like naysayers or whatever, but just like, just people who would just tell me that what I wanted to do wasn't possible.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, now I just think like how poisonous that is.
Yeah.
To somebody. Like, if somebody back in 2007 or whatever was like, dude, Andrew, I started making videos of us drinking in college, right? If somebody back then was like, Andrew, I see what you're doing with filmmaking, and I can tell you're passionate about storytelling. Instead of having an undeclared major here in school and like wasting your time, do you know that you could major in video production, or you could go to this film, but whatever? And I would have been like, holy shit. And that could have changed the projection of my life.
Yeah.
Right. So if I could do that for somebody else, like full advocate for that, And the reason why I wanted to ask you where you see your career going was because somebody asked me that and I didn't have an answer. And I'm like, honestly, I'm just like happy with where it is.
Yeah.
And like, why? Why would I be happy with where it is now? Why would I want to stop when I have momentum? Why would I want to stop when I know that I'm destined for much bigger things than what I'm working on right now? So I'm already on to the next phase of things, which is crazy to think about because I'm almost 2 years into the business and 4 months into like doing it full time on my own, right? Without having a job. But I'm already like, dude, I got to get out of this fucking this office, dude. Like, I need to get out of this space. Like, there's more.
Yeah.
You know, there's a higher calling, a bigger purpose for what we're doing. And I'm in the phase of doing that. And I don't want to be like an idea guy and just say it to all these people and like never do it. So I'm in the R&D phase, and I'm in the idea phase, and you know, not talking about it, but when I feel that I'm able to execute on it, I'm going to start, you know, putting it out there a little bit more. But I have a little light shine on what my next phase is, and I'm just like super stoked on it.
Want to give a little sneak peek? Or
Yeah, no, I think I want to create a space that other creators can use, other businesses can use, where there can be events held, where people can be mentored, where we can create impact to the youth and other people who want to get involved in the digital arts or filmmaking, and have it be a hub for connection and networking.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's just like our conversation, lifting people up, like giving people that are new, giving the younger generation a space like that is huge. Just for them to, even if they're not a customer, just seeing that, like, oh, there's a building where I can go shoot a podcast. I can go do a little photo shoot with my family. I can bring my mentor here.
The podcast, like, studio stuff right now is so popular. And I've seen how they all operate. And I don't think that there is like a premium like offering like in our area, like this area. And that would be a part of it, a very small portion of it. But yeah, like I did a spot or a podcast in this place in Boca, and not anything negative or bad about it. It's just like 4 iPhones on a thing, and it goes into like an iPad, and they like do it live, and when you're done recording the episode's done, and they send it to you right away. And it's just, you know, very cookie cutter, and they're like crushing it.
Wow.
And then there's other places where you can rent online, go and fill out a form, pay online, and you just go and you put the keypad in the door and you walk in and nobody's there and everything's there ready for you, you know, which is cool too. But yeah, I just think that there's a good like our area just needs like something bigger, you know, and like I want to be the guy that like does that.
That's super cool.
Yeah, because even if you search, like I'll have clients say like, oh, I want to do this video project, and like, oh man, like where are we gonna do it? You know, and it's like we got to go to like a co-working space where like it's not really built for video production or photography. It's just co-working space, but they let you do it there. You know, I know that's another thing. Like that's not a problem, right? Like, okay, so a client comes to me and they're like, I want to do this video, and they're like, but where can we film it, right? That is a problem. I like, okay, to most people it's a problem. To me, I'm like, okay, this is a opportunity that needs to be executed on. It's a solution for a problem, but also a much bigger thing than that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I don't, because there's been multiple times in the past couple of months where I needed to do something but didn't have the space to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, oh, we're going to go to like this random ass location or this coffee shop, or dude, last week I did a full month of content for a marketing agency in the clubhouse common area of like an apartment complex, which worked. You know, we're getting scrappy and we're figuring it out, which is awesome. But like, I want to have like a premium, like, I don't know, like there's like cheap people, and then there's like frugal people, and there's the premium people who like want to pay a premium to like have a really good experience and to like get that opportunity. And like I just want to cater to that, like, and just to be the spot to go to.
Yeah, 100%. No, it makes a lot of sense, man. I think with the space too, like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Like for businesses, for content creators, whether they're a personal brand or a physical business, like there's a whole wide array of people that can be a customer for that and benefit from that space.
Yeah, and I think other businesses too, like outside of like what we do, like what if it was a space that had like a few little offices, right? And then you could get like 3 barbers in there, or like a window tinter or a detailer or something like that, like a big bay where someone could put a car in and they could do a ceramic coating or something like that. So I don't know, just thinking big. And I think that, like, I'm an advocate for coaching. I don't know if you've ever went down that rabbit hole or not. Coaching in business and life and just things in general. It's just been a real large part of my journey, like the past like year or so. And I'm just learning to not, it's like just always be thinking ahead a little bit, and to like always be setting goals and tracking out the progress. And I made goals for this year, and I'm already there. So like I need to like
up the goals.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
So, but that comes back to like also like just like the limiting beliefs and like the shit stories we tell ourselves that we don't think we're capable of, the scars that we have from the past experiences that are holding us back from like living at our full potential, all that stuff. Like I had a business in 2019 that I used to say it was a failure. It wasn't a failure. It was a big learning experience. But I look at that business experience and I'm allowing that, shit's years ago, but I'm allowing that to dictate the way that I think and act today still, which is that's not conducive to the growth that I want to have.
Yeah.
The fear is fake. The fear is just like, it's fake.
Yeah.
It's just, like the only way I should be afraid is if I'm going to physically get harmed or die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like fear that I might not succeed in this or might lose money or whatever it is.
Yeah. It is fake, like you said, but it's fake, but it's so real for like 90% of Americans.
Yeah.
It'll shut down everyone's ideas from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it's like the beginning stages of being a creator, of being a YouTuber, a business owner, it's always going to be the toughest.
Yeah.
Like stepping from the unknown, being consistent, getting into that space, like just from a few months of me wanting to go into filmmaking, there's so many times where it was like something could have stopped me, and it not almost does, but it really like puts limitations on me. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Is this me? But it's just that's when you hear like there's no secret formula for success in small businesses. Like, yeah, there's good strategies, but the people that make it just don't give up, and they don't get kicked down by those no's and all the negative that you're gonna hear.
Yeah,
you're gonna see very little light in the beginning. You're not gonna be like having huge wins. Like you will have wins, but a lot of it's gonna be losses, and how you handle them to move forward.
Yeah,
is kind of my approach on just keep succeeding in business.
Like how long has your service business been in existence now?
It's been in existence for, I want to say 7 years, but it's been my full-time income and job for 5.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's crazy to me too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like it's awesome. So you talked about like what challenges within that 5 years have you faced that may affect your decision making today or with the filmmaking or anything like that? Like tell me about some of like the hard times that you had, what happened, how you pushed through, how you made it through, and like I think it's important to shine light on the challenges that we're going through as well.
Okay. So just for context, this reminds me so much of like this, I'm sure it's happened to you, but like worldly setbacks, is really a long-term blessing in disguise. And it was
yeah.
yeah, like the short form version, you're so mad and like, but I started the pressure washing business on the side and then had our first baby girl, and I was like getting enough jobs to where it was like, I probably shouldn't have quit my other jobs so soon, but I'm like, screw it. I'm going to take the risk.
Yeah.
All the people I listen to say take big risks.
Yeah.
So took a huge risk, went full time, and had our first baby on the way. And 2 weeks later from taking this risk was COVID, was the beginning of
Oh dear.
COVID. And I'm like, oh boy, like just quit my job.
Mm-hmm.
Could maybe go back, go find something else, keep struggling.
The moving company, right?
Yeah. Like I have so much experience in that realm. It wouldn't be too hard to find some type of company, but I'm
For
like,
sure.
no, I'm like, no, I didn't. This is not like, not COVID didn't happen because of my business experience, but I'm like, this is not why things are happening like this.
Yeah.
In the short term, I was like, why did I just start a business and the world's getting like shut down?
How did it affect the business?
It was just, it really didn't in Florida, but
Mm-hmm.
in the, like when it was happening, I'm like, this is it. This is done.
Yeah.
But us being in Florida, not much changed. A lot of fear implemented in people.
Yeah. Fear mongering.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I was still working. Like, yeah, people were wearing masks and like, don't come out and talk to me, but get the house done. I'm like, okay, this is good.
No problem. I'll text you the invoice.
Exactly. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, man. But that was the start of the journey. And it was like, looking back at it, if I didn't go through that, I was at a point where I was like, you're going to make this work or you're going to fail at this business.
What made you think you were quitting your job too soon?
Just not enough lead flow,
Okay.
kind of like,
Not enough data.
yeah, barely making it, like,
Financial stuff.
yeah, financial stuff, logistics of everything.
Yeah.
Like I was overly confident, which was not a bad thing. It worked out. And like I said, it made me hustle super hard to where I had no choice but to make it work out.
Yeah.
Or I just did all that for nothing. But it was
Dude, the greatest thing about that business is you could just go stick business cards on everybody's front door.
oh yeah.
And you would probably, have you done that?
oh yeah.
And has that generated work?
Oh yeah. It
That's-
generated my first job.
That's that. So that's like just being resourceful as a business owner and entrepreneur.
Yeah. Like if
You know, for like a filmmaker, it'd be like networking with other, going to business events or, networking things, or honestly, like I always put this out there because I think it's important for people to learn. I really got good momentum with my filmmaking business when I started working for other filmmakers and other businesses. Like that was like the catapult that like helped me get more work, get more established, but also learn more about how other people were doing their process. Like when we would do weddings or whatever, I was always getting everyone who was there, I'm getting their Instagram. I'm following them on Instagram, and then I'm seeing what they're doing, and then that like turned into more work.
yeah.
Simple
That's how
things.
we're here, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Simple things like that,
100%, man. I'm a big advocate for that. That's how we met.
Yeah.
That's how I got into like the next step of filmmaking, seeing with Andreas, seeing how he runs the show and me being transparent with him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing with video yet. May not even start a business. I may.
Yeah.
But I'm just being straightforward. If you want help, I'll be happy to help.
How did you meet him?
I reached out to him. I was working on my service business, and I was having a rough day. It's like the heat, middle of the summer, kicking my butt. I was having like heat flashes being up on a roof and spraying chemicals. I get down, and I'm already invested into camera stuff at this point, into filmmaking. And I'm like, I'm gonna start, like, I gotta change something. The schedule's got to change. So I'm like, I just want to go be with a filmmaking company, and even if I'm not getting paid $1 or very cheap, I don't care. I just want to see what it's like. I want to get my feelers out there, and I'm sitting in my truck, sweating my balls off, taking my shirts off because I'm like having heat flashes. I'm just scrolling through local companies, and I texted like 3 people, and then Andreas got back to me like a few days later, like, "Hey man, sorry for the late reply, but if you're still interested, I'd love to chat." And then that's how it started.
So you went on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Dude, so awesome. I did the same thing. I was at a point where I was like, dude, I just want to meet more people in our area, right? Because I was like, yeah, I like worked for him, and like some people in West Palm. I was like, who's like right around here? Like I just went into Google Maps, typed in videographer, and just started texting people. And like I met some people. You know? Super cool. All right, dude. Wow. I knew a lot about you, but now I feel I know you on a deeper level, and you truly are a long shot too, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that when we go through things when we're young with, drugs and alcohol and all that shit, it like just truly puts a dimmer on our light to the universe and everything that we're supposed to be. Yeah. And it wasn't until, for me, when I stopped all that shit and started like really focusing on myself, that things shifted. Like that was like the major turning point for me too. Like without doing that, none of this would be possible.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I think about it, and with God and with a perspective change, like I don't consider myself the same person from before that whole experience we went over to after.
Absolutely.
Like I was just such a different person with a different mindset. The Bible says you're blind, but now you can see, and it's not literal. Like, it is in some parables that he healed blind people, but in the verse, it's like you saw the earthly stuff. You saw what's going on down here. But you're still spiritually blind. And when I had that eye-opening moment, it was like, boom, whole different person. And it's not just because it is because of him. Everything is because of him, but he gives you opportunities to chase. Like people are like, "Oh, I prayed for this, it didn't work." It's like you don't pray for things. Nowhere in the Bible did someone just sit there and like, unless it was the times when Jesus roamed earth, he would heal people. But nowadays, you don't hear about people praying and like sitting still, and it's answered. It's like opportunities are given to you, and whether you want to go down that door and open it, it's up to you.
Yeah.
But from there, it was like totally different person.
It's given to you when you're ready to receive it.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.